You're in a Chinese knockoff right now.
Hi, welcome back to Burbex, Brin's Urban Exploration. We are back on Chongming Island again. Apparently on Chongming Island there is a PLA, People's Liberation Air Force Base. I've found information that says that there is an abandoned jet fighter hidden somewhere in this forest. We're going to go take a look around for that jet fighter right now, and hopefully we're going to be able to find it. Don't forget, if you love urban exploration videos with the China twist, be sure to hit like, and don't forget to subscribe to Burbex, Brin's Urban Exploration, every week. Let's go. On the location, it says that we have to follow this river. It's very overgrown here, and then we should be able to find the jet fighter. It's actually a Chinese jet fighter that we're looking for, and it was based on a MiG-19 jet fighter. Nobody really knows what it's doing out in the forest, but we're going to go and take a look. Oh shit! It's very... I can't tell you how hot it is out here. I am sweating buckets, but we're just coming up on the jet fighter right now. This is amazing. Right out, just in the middle of the forest here. This is so weird, just out here in the forest like this. Right now I'm here with Professor James Snark, a military enthusiast, and he's going to give us the lowdown on this plane. So James, where am I right now? I'm in the belly of a plane, but what kind of plane is it?
You are in the belly of a J-6 Shenyang, which is the Chinese version of a Soviet MiG-19. This is the world's first mass-produced supersonic aircraft, but it's a disposable one. It's only rated for 100 flight hours, at which point it's junk.
This was made in China, right?
This one was made in China with plans from Mother Russia back in 1959. They built them in China in 1962. They also exported this to Hanoi, Vietnam, for use in the Vietnam War. Although they didn't realize it wasn't the actual Soviet version. They were getting the knockoff. That's right. You're in a Chinese knockoff right now.
Are there any countries that still actually use this plane anymore?
As a matter of fact, two. Pakistan still uses this, albeit with U.S. armament. And of course, everybody's favorite, North Korea, still flies this loud and proud.
James has just given us the lowdown on this plane. I'm going to climb out of whatever it is I'm in right now, and we're going to go and look at some of the features of the plane. Let's go. Oh Christ, it's a bit fucking sharp in here though. Oh. Oh. Whoa, shit, that's not good. How am I going to get out? Oh. Oh. So, cool. So I noticed that a lot of Soviet planes, they have kind of this large air intake at the front, whereas maybe like US planes don't tend to have that. Why is that?
Well, this is based loosely on the first jet planes that Soviet Union acquired from the old Messerschmitt German airplanes, like the Messerschmitt 109. At the time, it was thought that putting the ramjet with the separator in front would be the best way to get the air accumulated. It goes in the front, separated by this divider into both engines, From there, the jet fuel is primed with condensed air, and it basically is a giant octopus in the air.
Is this method still used in any planes around the world?
It is still used in some commercial airplanes, howbeit much more refined. Nowadays, most commercial military jets will import the air on the sides of the jet so they can have a better aerodynamics in front. Although this sucks in a lot of air, it also creates a lot of drag. Drag is not a good thing when you want to go fast and rain hell and damnation down on your enemies.
What's the spike for?
Well, you can put a whole bunch of meats on the front here, and you can barbecue, you know, and the air friction will, you know, cook your food as you're going along. In actuality, this is mostly for show. It's supposed to actually create some turbulence in the air and force the air to separate a little bit before it gets to the ramjet. In practicality, though, most military jets will never use this. It's mostly for show.
And I can see, what kind of weapons do we have here?
The J-6 has got three, count them, 1, 2, and there's another one on the other side, 3 30mm cannons. These things will put out approximately 1,000 rounds a minute. Pretty easy to go through them. The actual gun itself is made as part of the wing, and it's separated a little bit from the actual fuel tank.
What kind of damage do you think that could do?
Well, it can do a lot. I mean, this one plane could probably destroy upwards near of 100 tanks if it was just had a clear line of fire and nothing in between it. Beyond that, it could easily kill an entire battalion of men. This is a low altitude plane, so it is designed for hit and run, not necessarily meant for dogfighting, howbeit it can dogfight surprisingly well. This particular plane, the J-6 Shenyang, did go up against a lot of the U.S., like the U.S. 104 Starfighter and also the U.S. F-4 Phantom, and found this could go faster and turn sharper than either one of those planes. But after 5 minutes of full-on afterburner, it's out of juice. It needs to land. Curiously enough, the airplane we're going to see has a lot in common with this bottle. Shit!
So that was James giving us some background to the plane. What I'm going to do now is climb up on the wings and see if we can open the cockpit. James was telling me that we actually need a special key to get into it, but let's see if we can get into it anyway. So I'm sitting on the canopy of the jet right now. It's all kind of dinged and faded. We don't have the equipment to actually get inside it, but we can take kind of a look through the window, give you an idea what the pilot would have been feeling as he was flying this beast. You can see we've got the joystick, and then there's the pedals, which James was saying controls the ailerons at the back. It's a very tight squeeze in there. You can see the control panel there too.
This cockpit still has the original ejector seat in it. You can see the ripcord there, but all the avionics has been removed from this jet. It still has the original heads-up display. The glass there will come up and act as a compass to indicate where they point the plane. Of course, they didn't have any variable geometry on the guns, and so what they had to do was literally point the plane at where they wanted to shoot. So, kind of a crude but effective way to kill your enemy.
The other thing that you can notice on this plane is that it's got this star. If you've been watching my channel for a while now, you'd probably be quite familiar with the star. We've seen it in the submarine base. We've also seen it at the abandoned Air Force radar base. And you can see it's got this star with two symbols in it. The top one is Ba and the bottom one is E. And that basically means 8-1. And 8-1 means August 1st, which was actually last week. And August 1st is Army Day in China, because the PLA, the People's Liberation Army, was formed on August 1st. And that's why you got it in the symbol there.
Okay. This is actually what we call an aileron. It's designed to disperse the air around the rear wing of this plane. And as you can see, this can be used to drastically cause a lot of drag to slow the plane down, and could also help it dive a lot faster. So modern planes don't use this sort of configuration as much anymore because, again, it creates a lot of drag. Instead, they tend to focus on using the flaps of the plane a little more. So also the wings on this particular plane are angled. We call it a delta wing. It's designed to give you a lot of low altitude lift, at the same time a lot more thrust under the wing.
So what do you think were the advantages of this plane? Why was it such a popular plane?
Well, it's the first mass-produced supersonic jet, so it's really cheap to produce. They, going to roll these things out. They could produce one of these planes every 3 days, and so it was pretty quick producing. It's a quick strike fighter, so it's designed to just get up in the air, do its bit, and if the pilot has to eject, it's mass-produced, so it isn't as valuable. Never really used on aircraft carriers. It was just designed to provide close air-ground support.
And how fast could this plane go?
Mach 1.45 if they really push it to the limit. Generally, though, the average flight speed of this plane is considered to be about 800 to 900 miles an hour.
And why do you think these planes were taken out of service?
Well, I mean, it was one of the first commercially produced jets, As more technology came in, they figured out how to make jets bigger, badder, meaner, The wing design, for example, is no longer much used. They use what's called a delta wing, a full delta wing nowadays, which will go back more towards the plane and provide more lift there. So it doesn't have to be as wide up. Some of jets like the F-14 Tomcat, for example, would have this variable wing geometry. So it would go out like this when it was flying slow and come back towards more of the fuselage of the plane when it was flying fast.
Thank you, Professor Snark. If you want to learn more, you can go over to James's channel and he will also be going over the plane in more detail. Professor Snark, can you tell us the name of your channel?
Snarky Guy. Just look for Snarky Guy, all one word, no capitals, no abbreviations, and no pants required.
How are you going to come down?
Am I going to come down? Oh, that's a good question. I hadn't thought about that. All right.
Nicely done. America gets 9 points.
Gold medal. Gold medal.